Marhaban bikum. I'm Sam Ross with Qasid Online. Today we're going to be discussing the jama', the plural, which appears in chapter 2 of book 1 of Al-Kitab. Let's take a look. A nice place to begin is with an example. Consider this sentence from Maha, said in chapter 3. She says, "A'rifu aqarabi min as-suwar wal-rasail." I know my relatives from pictures and from letters. She doesn't know them very well. Now the interesting thing here is I have three plural words. I have aqarib, the plural of qarib, meaning relative. I have suwar, the plural of surah, meaning picture. And I have rasail, the plural of risala, meaning letter. Hopefully by the end of our discussion today, you'll be able to look at the sentence again with much more depth. What's going on here? What kind of plurals are these? Etc., etc. So let's jump in. The first place to begin is with the etymology of the word jama'. It's really nice to know where words come from. Consider, for example, by analogy, an English word, octopus. What's an octopus? Most of you guys know that. In fact, almost everyone knows this. It's an animal that has 8 legs. And it's preserved by virtue of the fact of its prefix, the word oct, or rather the prefix oct, which means 8. Consider, for example, other words like octagon has 8 sides, for example. The great thing about knowing etymology, where words come from, is that strange words are easier to unpack that way. That's why people spend so much money on those SAT and ACT and GRE preparation courses. Consider, for example, this funny word included in a headline. You might see this in a newspaper. Death of an octogenarian. What is that? Or who is that? Well, you can clearly tell something to do with the number 8. It begins with a prefix, oct. And in fact, if you didn't know this, an octogenarian is someone who's lived 8 decades. He's an 80-year-old person. This means someone who's been more than 80 years old has died. The great thing about knowing that oct means 8 means that sometime down the road, if you saw the word octogenarian again, go, oh, right, oct 8. Oh, that's the 80-year-old guy. It's easy to remember. We want to do the same thing with jama'. We want to connect it to some other words, so if you ever forget what the jama' is, you can go, oh yeah, that's right, jama' means plural. So let's look at 2 other words that share the roots of jama'. And of course those roots are the jim, the mim, and the ayn. There's nothing else to confuse you. Let's erase this here. And here we go. Here's 2 words. First one's jami'ah. Hopefully you remember this word. It means, of course, university. And our second word is jum'ah. That means Friday, the day of congregation in the Arab world. What's the connection between university and Friday in plural? Think about it. Hopefully, you figured out it has something to do with gathering. A university is a place where something's gathered, whether it be people or knowledge. Friday is when people gather. Although it's an interesting question what exactly the origin of this word is, because maybe it predate Islam. Certainly Muslims gather on Fridays, but did the word predate Islam? And who was gathering then? I'm not quite sure. Then jama' is the gathering of the singulars of something. And so, for example, buyut is the plural of bait. And so we gathered together many houses to create the plural. You can get the idea. So hold on to that. Jama', jami'ah, juma'. Next topic. There are 2 types of plurals in the Arabic language. Very, very simple. Always comes back to 2. That's the sound plural and the broken plural. Notice we've done something a little bit new. Al-Kitab doesn't use this word salim. It means sound. Something is safe. For example, the word Islam technically means to cause something to be sound. Broken plural, jama' taksir. That's in Al-Kitab. Let's talk about the jama' taksir first. Well, actually, no. Let's compare the 2. Sound plural. What's going on? Why is it called a sound plural? The basic idea is the following. Here's the word majghul. The sound plural of majghul is majghulun, for many men that are busy. Notice, if I draw a line here, right in front of the waw, then the word majghul is contained in the word majghulun. I didn't lose it at all. I could pull it out if I wanted. If I had scissors, I could cut it out of the board, and there would be the exact same word, majghul. Same thing with talibah. This is now a regular feminine plural. Ignore the ta marbuta. I have the word talib here. If I had scissors, I could cut the word talib out of this plural, talibat. In other words, the singular is sound. It's been preserved in the plural. Let's contrast that with the broken plural. Here's a broken plural word. Bait became buyut. Notice what happened. I, rather harshly, took the ya and took the ta and ripped them apart and stuck in a waw. Poor bait. Poor guy. Anyways, he's pretty broken now. Maybe he'll get back together again, go to a support group or something. Anyways, broken plural, sound plural. Let's make an analogy to English. They have both approximately in the English language as well. In the English case, I have the word book. How do I make book into plural? Into plural form? I add an S. So book becomes books. And there you go right there. the word book has been preserved in the word books. Look at the broken plural. Do we have this in English? You can think about it. I think we kind of do. Consider this word. Goose becomes geese. You can see the G and the S are preserved, but I changed the interior contents of the word, kind of like the word bait. And so I would make an argument that they both kind of exist in the English language. Last comment. The broken plural bait goes to buyut, but not every word that rhymes with bait is going to go to buyut. And so, for example, layl does not go luyul. It becomes layali. It's a very important point. It means that you need to memorize the broken plural for every singular word. That's unfortunate. It'll get easier though. There are certain patterns. If someone said to me, I think the plural of bait is bawayit, I'd say that's ridiculous. There's no bawayit in Arabic. But bayut maybe, that makes sense. So let's take a look then at the broken plural, how you can use it with your flashcards. I propose the following after I erase these lines. On your flashcards, you might have done something like this. You write the word bait on one side. If you flip it over, you might have written the word house. What you now need to do is I want you to write the plural on both sides, the broken plural as well. They have to go together. So don't just write bait slash buyut to remind yourself that that word goes with that word. On the flip side, you can write house and houses. All right, let's go back to the plural page. The other type of plural was a sound plural. We have two types, the sound feminine plural and the sound masculine plural. That was the case of maj'ulun and the case of talibat. Let's jump into the sound masculine plural first. Here we go. The jama' al-mudhakkar as-salim. Jama' meaning plural, mudhakkar meaning masculine, salim meaning sound. There are three categories of words that can be jama' mudhakkar as-salim. Please don't make up any new ones. The first case is human traits. Only human people can be jama' mudhakkar as-salim, nothing else. Don't make a dog jama' mudhakkar as-salim. Don't make qualities of dogs jama' mudhakkar as-salim. Just a human being. What's a good example? Maybe, for example, jadidun. If you have a human being that's new, maybe a new teacher, a new friend, a new baby, you could do that. Notice I pluralized it with the un ending, a standard un ending like the letter S. The second case, human professions. What's a good human profession? You could think of some. Mudarris is a good one. Muhandis for an engineer. We chose mudarris. So mudarrisun is a regular masculine plural. There's our un ending at the end there. And our third case is human nationalities. If you're from a particular country, you can be pluralized as a regular masculine plural. We chose the case of Misriyun, which was what Maha was from. I mean, she's not Misriyun because that's for men, she's a woman. But her father, Muhammad, is one of the Misriyin, or one of the Misriyun here. Excellent. Let's take a look at the regular feminine plural. The Jama' al-Mu'annath as-Salim is for anything, humans or non-humans, any word under the sun that ends in a ta marbuta. It's so simple. All you have to do is drop the ta marbuta and add the word or the suffix at. Here's two examples. Talibah becomes talibat. Maybe I'll write the singular on the right so you can see it. Here's my ta, alif, ba, ta marbuta. So talibah, it's going to become talibat. Another example. Sayyarat, meaning cars, came from the singular sayyara. I'll write that as well. So you can see the ta marbuta and sayyara got converted into sayyarat. A nice way to conclude might be with a quiz based on a comparison with English. In English, you actually have three different ways to make a regular plural. One is by adding the letter S. So consider, for example, as we said previously, the word book, by adding an S, becomes books, and cat becomes cats. Second case, for some words you actually add ES. So for example here, I have wrench becomes wrenches, dish will become dishes, and box is going to become boxes. It's for words that end in a handful of strange endings. CH is one, SH is one, X is one. There's some other ones as well. For example, double S also does this. Loss becomes losses, for example. And our final case is sometimes you drop a Y and add IES. So lady, we drop the Y, and we get IES to make ladies. Spy, drop the Y and add IES, you get spies. And you can think about other examples. For example, the word cry becomes cries. We said earlier that the regular masculine plural is perhaps closest to this one, adding an S. My question for you is what is the regular feminine plural closest to? Think about it. Hopefully, you realized that this option, dropping the y and adding IES, is the closest. Why is that? Well, think about what you do. If I have the word taliba, for example, I'll write it on the board here. How do I pluralize taliba? I drop something, and then I add something. I drop the ta marbuta, and then I add at. And that's just like dropping a y and adding IES. That's the end of our discussion of plurals. Thanks for joining us.